Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We're taking the new Strength LR Final Form Cooler into the Wicked Bloodline ESBR, which funny enough is actually the most recent ESBR stage we have. So, because that's more one of the recent stages and it is increased difficulty, I have brought the 200% lead with us with dual coolers. And neither of them are even on rotation right now, so that is a fantastic start. So we do have AGL, EZA Golden Freezer here, and also Full Power Freezer has Type Provide against Bardock. Also, the Transforming Cooler scares me, so again, Dokkan, fingers crossed, please give us an EZA in Part 2. Update him. That rotation with the new cooler would just be crazy. Just throw guard on him or something, you know, just make him wild, make him a slot 1 unit. Just in case, because of him, I will use an Icarus. But we can soak up all the damage with Golden Freezer right there. And then we're going to absolutely annihilate Bardock with Freezer. And then, do you know what? We might as well just in case, do some extra damage with the Dokkan Fest Transforming Cooler in slot 3. Actually, I say give us a slot 1 unit. In a few months' time on Global, we'll get the Golden Freezer as well. The LR Golden Freezer, who links really well with Cooler. So he will eventually on Global have a slot 1 unit next to him. But still, just EZA that Transforming Dokkan Fest Cooler and just make him nuts. Just make him ridiculous. Because that rotation would be ridiculous. It would be incredibly dominant, especially while facing a pure Saiyan or hybrid Saiyan enemy. Like, Cooler's dominant anyway, even in harder content, the new LR. Make that one updated with defense. As I said, especially with how good he works against pure Saiyan enemies as well, and hybrid Saiyan enemies, that rotation's damage will generally just be insane. Lucky enough, no super attack. This is what I mean. Like, he's taking 60k on the basics with an Icarus active. He needs all the help he can get. I think the friend one does have a dupe. Yes, he does. And he's also started link leveling him. Same, I've started link leveling mine. So we're going to do this. Get some health back with you. We'll give Cooler all of these. Can we get enough for mine? No, but that's fine, because he will end up greatly raising his defense on the initial attack, and also with all the additionals he's going to get. Terrifying Conquerors, we're still within the 3-turn limit, so that means mine's going to get the initial, which typically is the 18 key, but because we have no links active, he's going to greatly raise his defense once. We got the additional from having a Terrifying Conquerors enemy, Terrifying Conquerors ally on the team for 3 turns, so that's another additional. If the 2 additionals that are in his passive come off the super attacks, that's another 4 times we're going to use or greatly raise our defense as well. So it ends up working out quite alright for us, considering he's not linked to anyone, because he'll end up greatly raising his defense 4 times, which is by 200%. Yes, there are no stacks, but considering how solid defensively he's going to be for this turn, with an Icarus active, by the way, don't forget, I don't really mind. Because once his passive's fully brought up, he's going to be dealing ridiculous amounts of damage anyway, especially when he's on the second rotation, actually linked up with someone. So there's 1. No super, but there's the second attack. There's 3, no super. And there's... Really? I mean, he's still taking double digits with an Icarus active after super attacking and greatly raising his defense on his 12 key once. So that's still relatively impressive, I'm not gonna lie. But the fact he done 3 additionals and didn't get a single super attack off one of them really irks me. See, that's part of the RNG that does play into Cooler, even if you do have a dupe, but that is part of the RNG of, you know, yes, he has all these additionals are great, and potentially he can, you know, the ideal turn is, of course, you hit your 18 key, you stack, 2 built-in additionals, hopefully they become super attacks, greatly raise your defense twice. Even better with you're within still the 3-turn limit of having a Terrifying Conquerors ally on the team within those 3 turns after the entrance animation. That's another additional that has a medium chance of becoming a super attack. So that's another additional with greatly raising defense. And if you have a dupe, that's another additional you can get off where you can greatly raise your defense as well. Except if none of them come off, of course, there's also the possibility in harder content where his defense would be okay for the turn, but unless he gets all those additional supers off, he can literally tank for nothing. Like, he will tank everything for the bare minimum. But that's the, you know, Cool is very fun. Very, very fun to use. And he still has the capabilities of being amazing defensively. Even against Cell Max, even in Red Zone, I've seen it. The only thing is, if it just doesn't happen for you, if you just don't get, I mean, look at this. If those super attacks just don't come off as additionals, his defense can be a little bit lacking in the harder content. I'm not saying it's terrible, but it can be a little lacking for what it potentially can be. There's always that risk. Whereas, of course, Goku does get the guarantee, but either way, they're still both two of the best units in the whole game. Just depends on who you ask, who is where in your top 3. Vegeta and Trunks, the Tekala SSJ Goku, or Cooler. Whoever, depending on who you ask, depends on who goes where. I think at the end of the day, whoever puts who where, entirely up to you. And I don't think if it's one of those you actually have a debate about. I think it's just like, okay, fair enough. You just kind of move on. But I know Cooler, of course, one of the main things with Cooler is you need to build up his passive. Now, the reason why that's not an issue here is because of those additionals we've been talking about. Because he has those 2 guaranteed additionals. Actually, tell a lie. Because we're in ESBR, this works out even better. When you're in ESBR, of course, there are 3 different fights. And the newer SBR stage is 4. You constantly go into different battles after you finish one, which means every time it resets, you get that entrance animation again. Of course, I don't have the animations on right now. You get that entrance animation again. Terrifying Conqueror's allies with you. Yes, you have to build Cooler up again, which won't take you long, because of course you have the initial attack, you have the built-in additionals, and the entrance animation additional, because there's a Terrifying Conqueror's ally on the team. You get another additional on top of that, which means that additional you have for 3 turns constantly resets in every fight you do, which means you get to take advantage of it and building them up quickly again. So even though ESBR, you're never in it longer than 5-6 turns, which is perfect for Cooler because of how much damage he can do as a collective, building them up in each separate fight really isn't an issue because of all those additionals. We've done 3 already. One of them's been a super attack on an additional, so we've greatly raised our defense once. We've stacked once, which is going to help us do some extra damage. There's 4 attacks, and that is because of the Terrifying Conqueror's ally. So Cooler's already built up his passive 4 times because he's done 4 attacks. Don't forget, he needs to go up to 10. And he's already done 4. So literally, after 2 turns, he's on 9. If you have a dupe, you could literally stack Cooler up in ESBR after turn 2. Literally, 2 turns are gone. Cooler's fully stacked up. He has just more than half of the fight in ESBR for you to really utilize him with his passive fully built up. So, you know, in terms of needing to build him up in every single new fight, yeah, never a problem considering how fast he can do so, especially if you have a dupe. You can do that within 2 turns. If you don't have a dupe, you can do that in 3. And then, of course, you get the magical 3 super that you get because you're on your 10th attack, where Cooler can greatly raise his defense again and be even more defensively solid for the remainder of the turn. So yeah, even though this guy has to fully build up his passive each fight, as I said, it's just not a problem for him considering how fast he does build up. And if you have dupes, you're building it up even quicker on top of the additional you get from the entrance animation and the additional you may also get from the dupe system if you do indeed have dupes. Okay, he's being super. Do we still have an Icarus active? I'm not sure. I think we do. Okay, I mean, that was a fair, decent chunk, but Cooler hasn't really stacked up at all. I say stacked up at all. He didn't really get that many additionals, and by stacked up, I mean he hasn't really built up his passive. So obviously, you know, in the first turn, if Cooler's only just started building up his passive, he can be open to damage, a bit of damage, but he didn't die. So Cooler was literally probably, I wouldn't say at his worst. At his worst would be slot 1 before he's even done anything, which he probably would have died, which you don't want him there. He's not a slot 1 unit. But that is one of the worst. I forgot to bring Aeters. Oh my god, I forgot to bring Aeters. Oh, that's bad. I forgot to bring Aeters with me. I brought King Yemas instead. Oh, that's my bad. We're going to have to wait for the Dokkan attack for us to do anything. That means neither of the Golden Freezers, and there's 3 of them, neither of them can hit their damage reduction. Oh no. I took the wrong item. I was meant to bring Aeters and I accidentally brought Yemas. Oh damn, we can't heal. I mean, at least the Dokkan first transform and Cooler is transformed, and we're facing pure Saiyan enemies, so he can pop off with crits. He's also got 2 dupes, additionals. We can start wailing on him. But yeah, as I said, that was one of the worst scenarios you can kind of have for Cooler. Slot 2 hasn't built up his passive whatsoever. you know, barely got any additional supers off to greatly raise his defense to kind of make up for that and make him better defensively. And while he did take quite a bit of chunk of damage on a super, because these new SBR stages, we all know how hard they hit. And one of his worst case scenarios on a super still didn't die. That's how good he is. Even at 55%, this is how good he is. Okay, I'm going to use a Yemma, because, I mean, they're kind of in place of the Aeters. Frieza has the most defense, however, he does have type disadvantage, so I'm probably going to do this. How much defense does Cooler have? 213k, because he does have more links off with LR Full Power Frieza and Big Bad Bosses, which is one of the main reasons why you do want to get him to level 10 links, so you don't have to worry about the HP condition with that. So over 200k defense with a Yemma active. Again, I don't think he's even, he's not even fully stacked up because this one has a dupe, and 5.8 million is nowhere near the amount of attack he gets to, so he's not even fully stacked up. Technically, if we had enough time, he'd be fully stacked up after this turn. He's even getting additional supers off as well, where he greatly raises his defense. But yeah, Raditz is dead. I mean, look how much damage he's doing to him. And that's without crits. That's without Cooler critting. But we're about to get the Dokkan attack, so we're fine. I'm just going to, obviously I'm going to pop an Usher as we go into this one. Can't believe I forgot to bring Yemmas. I can't believe I forgot to bring Yemmas. Okay, this works out well, because don't forget, before he transforms, he's given Transformation Boost Category Allies a boost. He's supporting Transformation Boost Category Allies. So LR Final Form Cooler's got a little bit more about him. Also going to get a Dokkan attack with him as well. Hopefully those additionals, because again, we're back in a new fight, which means we have the entrance animation additional. We've got to build him up again, yes, but as I said, that's just not a problem considering how many additionals and how many times he can attack. So literally, off of the first attack in turn 3, Cooler will be fully built up, which means you have about half the fight where he's not fully built up, but after like a few attacks, you don't even need him fully built up and he's ready to go. Or he's somewhat still performing very good and decently. And then for the other half of the fight, Cooler's fully built up and doing his thing, and you just want those additional 12 keys to come off where you greatly raise his defense. Did you just see the health on the Trunks and the Goku? Trunks is literally about to die. Goku is dead because we've literally Cooler has just one-shotted this entire turn. I know it was a Dokkan attack, right? But can we just appreciate, right? That's my Cooler. So he's 55%. This is a brand new fight. He done that Dokkan attack with no build up in his passive, apart from the attacks he was doing. And one of them, I'm pretty sure, wasn't even an additional super. But he started with no build up in his passive, just a straight up raw Dokkan attack, killed Vegeta. Trunks was on a pixel. Goku was literally one shot. So was the Trunks, but still. And he pretty much one-shotted the turn to the point I even got a new record. I mean, if that doesn't show you how dominant and the sheer force Cooler brings with him, 55%, I don't know what will. And again, the fact that he has to build up, as I told you, doesn't matter. You don't even need Cooler fully built up in the event for him to perform as good as he can. Or for him to like perform well in ESBR, should I say. And then once he's fully built up, as I said, it doesn't even take him long because of all the built-in additionals. You have a dupe in him, and you will have him fully built up as turn 2 ends. And that's just over half the fight for Cooler to just annihilate, and he annihilates without even being built up anyway. He is generally, the dominance this guy brings is just ridiculous. Strongest in the universe, that's right. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next video, guys, and push!